Tim DTV. It's variety, the real footage show. Tim Davis.
Hello and welcome to a new edition of The Real Footage Show. I'm Tim Davis. This is show number 33, and today we are going to be talking about holiday incense smokers. A common thing that you would bring out around the holidays, probably, although you could collect them most of the year, but they're probably more common around Christmas time. Holiday smokers are handcrafted pieces of wood that resemble either figures or people or even houses. And the thing that makes them interesting is the amount of the time it takes to paint them, sculpt them, and to add the little special effects that make them so interesting. They are made in Germany. And they come in all different shapes and sizes, all different kinds of characters. This happens to be a snowman, and this is one of the very first ones that I was able to get many years ago, around the holiday time. This is almost 30 years old, this one right now, but I remember the first day when I received it, when we purchased at a store, and I saw it in action with the smoke coming out of the snowman's mouth. I found it very interesting. So today we're going to be taking a look at a bunch of examples, such as the one I have in my hand here, and we're going to be talking about the different characters and styles that they have made over the years and continue to make as well. An incense smoker uses, of course, an incense cone of some kind, and this just so happens to be the kind that these come with. They are made for these types of characters specifically, and they all come in different scents as well. This just so happens to be pine tree scented, but you could also get ones that smell like cherries, vanilla, as well as blueberry, and many others as well. I've smelled some of the scented ones over the years, and the blueberry one smells real nice, as well as the cherry, but I think my all-time favorite happens to be the one that I was originally introduced to, which was the pine tree scented ones. They come in the cone shape like this. And what happens is when you get your character, like this snowman here, for example, the bottom comes apart from the top. And the cone is then placed onto the base of the smoker that you have. The top of it is lit by a flame, either with a match or something of that kind, and then eventually the incense will start to burn slowly, and as it burns, it lets off the scented smoke, which is not too much, but it's enough to actually see. And then while that's sitting there, you carefully put the base back on, and then within a matter of seconds, the smoke starts to come out of the mouthpiece of the character. In this case, it would be the snowman's mouth, where the pipe is in his mouth. They could last for quite a number of minutes with the smoke coming out of the mouth as long. It kind of depends on the back of each character. There is a tiny little hole, which is the intake for the air to come in to make the incense continue to keep burning. So depending on the size of the character or the way it was designed is going to depend on how long that it smokes for. One thing though, I think if you have an allergy or allergic to such things as scented smoke or something like that, it might not be a good idea uh, to be around them. But if you like that scented smoke smell, incense, then this is something that you probably would be interested in, because it is the thing that got me interested in this years ago was when there was a small stand set up at a mall in our area, and they had a big bunch of these all set up, and it was mostly around the holiday time. And I remember not only seeing the stand but smelling it as well, because they had a few of these running as an example. And we went over to it, and I just found them interesting. Like, how do you get the smoke into them? Well, here I didn't realize that there was an incense cone inside making it smoke. So you also want to make sure too that you handle them with care. Uh, I wouldn't put them around near pets where pets can knock them over, or small children, because of course it is an item that requires being lit with matches or whatnot. So it's kind of it is also something that you would want to keep an eye on too. You might want to stay in the same room with it. Like a candle that's left burning unattended in a room is not a good idea. As well as these, you might want to just stay near it and do some paperwork or whatever, or whatever you're doing within the room. So don't leave them unattended. I guess that would not be such a good idea. I'm sure a lot of people too probably collect these as well as just collectible items and don't even actually use them. I haven't used these in years, like actually making them smoke. But it's nice to always go back into the collection and just to see, to see them again and to reminisce about them. So this was the very first one I actually ever purchased. I like the snowman. He's wearing a top hat. He has some sticks shoved in his side here. He has on a red scarf, and he also, I like his the way they did his eyes, and just the way in general, the way they made him. I like him probably the most out of the ones that I have. Now I'm not going to be able to show all of them today, but I'm just showing you a sample of the ones that I have here. Once this cone eventually burns itself down, it just burns itself out eventually, and you're just left with a tiny little sliver of what's left of it. But again, depending on the size of the character and how much air intake goes into the back of the item, depends on how long that the incense will burn for. And I'm not going to do this today as a demonstration, but I'm just giving an idea as to what they look like. Let's see. Here's one that is not in resemblance to a person or anything. This happens to be a mushroom house. And this, of course, the smoke in this one would come out of the chimney. So the incense would go here, the smoke would go up through the mushroom, and then out the chimney up top. This one's a little bit more practical than the people, because, of course, on chimneys, on buildings, they smoke when it's cold outside or whatever. There's other type buildings that they also have made too, like chalet type houses and ski resort houses. I've also seen one where they had a chimney sweeper. The chimney smoked on that. So this is the mushroom house. And then another one that I have that I would like to share would be this one, which happens to be, this is an elf, a Christmas time elf. And on this one you could see that he has this is where the incense would go on this one. The elf is holding a pipe. He's wearing a red hat, and he has some handcrafted pieces and painted toys. This looks like a little soldier. A little toy house. And a rocking horse. So each one, again, depending on the character, will either be holding something, depending on what they are. For in this case, the elf, he's handling toys. They also, a lot of them also come with, they have beards. They have the hair on them. Again, these are all made out of wood. Everything on them is wood except for the piece of the pipe, which was probably some kind of a metal. Each one is unique in its own way, and that's kind of what makes them so fun, I believe. This is another one of my favorites in the collection I share with you today. This happens to be a magician. Most of them stand about as tall as, again, depending on the size of the characters. Here's the magician, and if you look, he's almost about the same size as the elf. The snowman was a little bit shorter in height, but here's the magician. There's his shoes, and there's the rest of them. This one's interesting. I like this one because instead of having a pipe, most of them always have pipes. This one has a cigar in his mouth. He also has some rabbits around him, as well as the magician box that one of the rabbits is sticking its head out of. He's wearing a white scarf, and there's some kind of a purple cloth here. The magician's cloth or whatever they use. He's also wearing a black top hat, and it looks like he has on some brown hair. Rosy cheeks. I really like these things. They're really interesting collectible items, especially around the holiday time. I believe they are a seasonal thing, but I'm sure you could have these out all year round if you really wanted to. But I think they're just a little bit more special during Christmas time and the holidays in December. But this is the magician. Again, another interesting character. That's probably one of my second favorites next to the snowman one that I originally showed you. And this one happens to be a Santa. This is a Santa. And he has on him, this one's a little bit shorter, as you can see the difference in the height between the two. This one's way shorter than the magician and the elf that I showed you. This is probably about the height of the snowman one. But again, they're all unique in their own right. The snowman here, or excuse me, the Santa here, has a smaller base. For some reason, I don't know why they did it like this. He doesn't have any feet. He doesn't have the base of the Santa is just totally round. I don't understand the reason why that is. But he's way smaller in comparison to these other ones. But he goes on the base. He's holding a Christmas tree in one hand, a stick in the other, and he has a really long, weird-looking pipe in his mouth. His head also seems to be very long, too. It's like stretched or something, it seems like. And this detached from the back of it, but this happens to be the bag that he is carrying on his back. It's supposed to be glued onto there like that, but for some reason the glue gave way and it needs to be put back on. But this one, when I used to make this one smoke, I noticed that this one took a little bit longer and didn't smoke as much as the other ones did. Again, I think depending on this, it's because of the size of it. As you can see right here on the back of it, the intake hole where the air would come in to fuel the incense burning is way smaller. And that has a lot to do with how much it smokes. Some of them smoke more than others. Now, they're not going to smoke you out of the room, but you're going to be able to see it more visibly. Some of these, you could really see them. Some of them, you almost have to be up, really up close and actually see smoke coming out of them. So it depends on, as I've been saying, it depends on the size of the character. That is what's going to make them smoke as much or not. Now, the other ones I have in the collection, I also have a beekeeper, a chimney sweeper. I also have a ski-style house, as well as a shoemaker. Just trying to think off the top of my head some of the other ones I have in my collection. There's also a snowman on skis. He's like skiing with a pipe in his mouth. And we have a bunch of snowmen. There's a few others as well, but these are the ones that I really wanted to show you These are some of my more favorites that I have in my collection. So see if I can just all line them up here so you get a chance to see them all in their entirety. Again, these are basically, all of these were purchased in the 1990s is when these were all bought. These are all from the 1990s. They still make them, of course, and you can find them nowadays definitely on the internet, as well as some probably in some stores if they sell them. But here they all are. We have the Mushroom House. We have the Snowman, the very first one I ever got, and is definitely one of my favorites. We have the Santa, the Elf, and the Magician. And of course, they come with these scented incense as well, which you could get not only in pine scent, but there's many different scents you can get these in nowadays. These were just, I guess pine scent is the original one that they come with. This has been a collection that I had for years, and it's always interesting to bring these out again during the holiday times. I haven't used any of these in a long time, so I think one day it'll be fun again to put an incense in one of them and to see them smoke again. But until then, I hope you got enjoyment out of seeing this video demonstrating these characters. And if you'd like to learn more about them, you obviously could search online for them. Holiday incense smokers, or whatever they're, I guess, officially called. I call them that. But you could find them probably anywhere. There's all different kinds, all different types, sizes, shapes, people, houses, whatnot, even like snowmen, characters like that. But I hope you enjoyed this edition of The Real Footage Show with me, Tim Davis. It was a joy bringing you these characters and showing you another piece of my other stuff I do besides television and film and movie reviews. I also collect such things like this, like I have done in the past with stained glass pieces and now incense smokers for the holidays. So if you have any comments or questions, please feel free to leave them in the comment section. You could also add me as a friend on Facebook. There is a link on my YouTube channel. Just find me on Facebook at Tim Davis, Tim D Productions. And also, if you would like, you could subscribe to my YouTube channel, and you could see a big variety of videos such as this, and with a more variety of themes on my YouTube channel, Tim1TV. This has been the 33rd edition of The Real Footage Show, and I hope you enjoyed this video as much as I did bringing it to you. Until next time, thank you for joining us for this edition of The Real Footage Show for show number 33, Incense Holiday Smokers. And until next time, I'll see you in the next video. Thank you for watching.